So I'm here to tell you about how I am doing 1 year after my hysterectomy and my prolapse repairs. So I'll tell you about what I had done specifically, give you some context. Then I'm going to tell you kind of from my doctor's perspective and from my own physical therapy perspective where I am. And then the second half, I'm going to get really transparent and vulnerable with you and tell you from a patient perspective, from my own personal perspective, how I feel a year after. So one thing to keep in mind is I had both a hysterectomy done and prolapse repairs. So I had 3 different prolapses, level 3 and level 4, and I had all of that done at once, including mesh attached from my sacrum into my vagina to help with a vaginal vault prolapse. So that's a lot done. So everything I tell you is going to be considering both of those together. I will talk a little bit about what a hysterectomy alone might look like, but keep in mind, I had all of that together. So that's my experience. So in November of 2019, I had a hysterectomy done. I had my uterus, both fallopian tubes, 1 ovary, and my cervix removed. It was laparoscopically done. And then I also had a rectocele repair, a cystocele repair, and then that vaginal vault repair like I told you about. So I had all of those done. So I'm a year and 2 months out of my own surgery. From a doctor's perspective, when I see my surgeon for my follow-up, for my checkups, I am doing great. Like I am absolutely model patient good. So I'm very thankful for that. So there's no prolapse that is seen right now at all, no recurrence. I'm doing great. I have healed well. Everything went as well as could be expected. So very happy with that from that perspective. I have also seen a women's health physical therapist. So I'm a PT, but I don't do internal work, and I couldn't on myself anyway, probably. And as you guys know, I 100% recommend if you are having any of these surgeries that you see a women's health PT in the 3 months after. And so I did. I've been through 3 to 4 appointments for that. And from her perspective, I am also doing great. When I first saw her, my pelvic floor was very weak, but I was able to find good contractions. They got better. And again, she did not see any recurrence of prolapse. A little bit of tightness in pelvic floor muscles, same, it's to be expected. So from those perspectives, doing awesome. I will tell you what I have experienced along the line and then where I am now. I have many other videos giving you in-depth stories too about closer to the time, exactly like 2 weeks out, 4 weeks out, 6 weeks out. And you can find all of those on my Instagram. It's Jessica Valant Pilates. If you go to my Instagram, you will find on my IGTV a whole series of how I was doing recovery-wise in those first 6 months. And I highly recommend finding that. So where I am restriction-wise too, we'll talk about exercise. I have no restrictions at this point. So from the doctor, I am good to go. I am able to run. I am able to lift whatever I want. He says, go for it. I will let you know, saw another surgeon. So of course, before surgery, I got 2 opinions, and hers was a lifetime restriction of not lifting more than 50 pounds. That's for the prolapse. That's not a hysterectomy thing. That's for the prolapse. And I have always kept that in mind. So where I am a year later is I am able to do what I feel like is just about anything I want to do, but I will probably always keep myself on that 50-pound limit. There is a recurrence, 10 to 15% of prolapse after a prolapse repair surgery. There's also a possibility of prolapse after a hysterectomy surgery. So I am choosing to keep myself at 50 pounds. That being said, I have a 7-year-old who's more than 50 pounds who wants to jump into my arms sometimes, and I'm not going to say no. I feel strong enough now, finally, for her to do that. It took a long time, but I do. I can hold her. I'm safe. I put her down. But when it comes to Olympic weightlifting, I'm not going to be doing that again. So I am lifting 40 pounds. I can squat a barbell of 40 pounds, and I feel comfortable with that. I have an indoor cycling bike. I feel comfortable with that. I have tried running. It is not the most comfortable thing, but I will tell you, I'm not a good runner. I'm not a natural runner, and I haven't run for 8 years. We're dealing with a lot of trauma from 8 years of prolapse and what I was doing, what I wasn't doing. So I have tried running, and I was thrilled that I had no problems with it. but it still felt a little not comfortable yet. And I mean that more mentally, like mentally and into my body. It had nothing to do with the prolapse or hysterectomy. It was more me. So I might get back to trying to run when it's nice weather here again. I might not, but again, if I don't, it's more my choice to do other things instead. It's not that I'm not allowed or can't do it. My goal before surgery was simply to be able to run across the field and play Frisbee with my kids without leaking urine and without being in pain. And I'm able to do those things. So I'm thankful for that. So that's where I am exercise-wise. It has taken me a year and a little bit to get to this point. Take your time. It took a long time to build up to this, and I still do feel fatigued in my pelvic floor. There's no question about that. If I do an interval ride on my bike one day and the next day I choose to squat that heavy weight, I'm going to be really fatigued in my pelvic floor. I can feel it. I feel some pressure down there. So then I'm going to take the next day is going to be a Pilates workout on my back or on the reformer. And the next day even is probably going to be sitting doing some arm weights. And then I'll get back to maybe a cardio workout. So that's how I manage it. And I find no problem with that. All right. So exercise is going fine, but I'm very deliberate and I'm still very purposeful and intentional with it. I will get into a little bit of some personal and vulnerable information with you now.
If you're watching this video, it means you've either recently had surgery or you're thinking about having surgery. And I can tell you from experience that staying hydrated is one of the best ways that you can heal after your surgery. Built Boost can help you do that. I wish so much I had had this after my last surgery. It is a powder that you put in water and it gives you 100% of your daily vitamin C, vitamin B, it gives you echinacea, so it ends up being a natural immune booster as well as giving you natural energy. I know that time after surgery can be hard to stay hydrated. It can be hard to feel like yourself, and this can help you. Simply put it in water and it tastes delicious. My friends at Built are offering you a coupon. Use code VALANT20, VALANT 20 to get 20% off. The link is below, and I wish you the very best in staying hydrated and feeling good.
I still have some PTSD, I believe, from my 8 years of going through prolapse. So again, having level 3 and 4, I had a bulge all the time. It was uncomfortable, it was embarrassing, and I thought about it pretty constantly just in that managing my life. I did not feel limited, but I was always managing that, always thinking what I can do and what I can't do and what's the day gonna look like. So I think I am still dealing with some of that. So when people ask me, how are you doing a year later? Are you so glad you had surgery? I say yes, but there's always this nuance to it, but it's simply because of that, because I think I don't know how to compare how I feel now to how I feel before, because I didn't have normal for so long. So I am getting used to this new body that probably is closer to normal, but I don't have any kind of background for normal. I had prolapses for 8 years and a bulge, and I had endometriosis for 20 years before that, and I still have it. It never goes away. And so that normal that we seek after surgery is very nuanced with women's health issues. It's very nuanced with hysterectomy and prolapse. So you're gonna have days that are great. You're gonna have days that you wonder what is going on, and you're gonna have days where it's kind of in between. And I think I'm still in that place. So I can say securely that yes, I am glad I had surgery. I know I needed it. I know it was the decision I made for myself with the best information I had, and to give myself a great chance going forward to do what I wanted to do. Do I wish I wouldn't have had to have it? Yeah, of course I do. I wish I wouldn't have had to, but I'm thankful I have access to healthcare. I am thankful that I don't have a bulge every single day. And so that is really where I am, is I'm thankful that I had it done, and I'm still very aware of this new body that I'm getting used to. So some questions people ask, do I have a bulge anymore? No. I woke up from surgery with no bulge, and I have never felt that again, and that's what I'm most thankful for. That is probably the most clear success that I see from my surgery. No bulge whatsoever. Awesome. Endometriosis pain. I am actually significantly better, but it's still there. And you guys, it will be. simply will be, especially if you still have one ovary, because you will still cycle. So on the months I cycle on that side, I still will feel my endometriosis pain. I still, again, manage that. I'm still diligent about it. I haven't forgotten about it, but it is significantly better. So I'm thankful for that as well. That is not why I had the hysterectomy. I want to point out, if it was only about the endo, I may not have had a hysterectomy, because there are other issues with hysterectomies to keep in mind, and they are not a for sure fix for endometriosis whatsoever. The research shows us that. I had the hysterectomy done because of the uterine prolapse I had, and then helping my endo was simply kind of a nice benefit to that. Other things people ask is, how is sex a year later? I have not had any troubles with sex, and I'm, again, very grateful for that too, but I have not had any problems at all with sex or with orgasms since having surgery. I do have an entire video on my YouTube channel about sex after hysterectomy, so you might want to go look at that if you have more questions. It's definitely something you want to get your questions answered and you want to talk to your surgeon about, but I personally have not had problems. Let's talk about peeing, because that can be a big thing, especially on the prolapse side. Before surgery, I was peeing 28 times a day. I kid you not, I was counting. And that was something I really wanted to be fixed with surgery, because it felt limiting sometimes. Talking to the surgeon beforehand, luckily he was very good at setting my expectations correctly, in that it could help, but also sometimes that urge incontinence, having to pee all the time, that can come from an overactive bladder. It can come from nerve issues. So he told me there are other things we can do to help that if I still had problems after. And so to this point, a year and 2 months after surgery, I'm peeing probably 14 times a day. It's significantly better, 14 to 15. And what's funny is I talked to a client recently who she ended up peeing more, and she has just had surgery. So that's a very different thing. That's common. But she said, I'm peeing like 14 times a day. And it felt like so much to her compared to before, versus me peeing 14 times a day now is a miracle. It's amazing. So that's just an example to tell you to keep in mind, we are all so different. We're so different. So only compare yourself to where you were the day before, to where you were the week before with recovery. Okay, don't compare yourself to me. I work out for a living. I am lucky to be able to do this, and I have also been dealing with this for 8 years now and having to learn how to move my body. Don't compare yourself to someone in the forums. Stay away from those. So many people have hard times and they're talking about it, and that's not necessarily going to help you either. Compare yourself only to you, okay, and how you are doing and how you want to be doing. So that gives you an idea of, in general, where I'm at a year later. I do not feel like it's cut and dry. I do not feel like my recovery is over. I feel like it's still going. I am still working to get my pelvic floor stronger. It's still a little bit weaker than I would like it to be. So I'm still doing my own pelvic floor physical therapy, my exercises. I'm doing all of those to help. I am still, like I said, planning my workouts accordingly so that I don't get too tired in my pelvic floor. And all of those things serve me in two ways. One, I'm trying to simply prevent any future problems or recurrence. And I am also trying to live my very best life every day and feel like I'm not limited. I am happy I had the surgery. I had a good experience, and it was a long and hard journey to get here. So don't be surprised if you're feeling that too. Don't let it deter you, but just set your expectations correctly, that you are on a new journey with a new body. You can do this. You are strong. Ask the people around you the right questions. Find good team members to help you, and feel free to leave comments below. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for stopping by. Remember, subscribe to my channel and you'll be notified every time a new video comes up. Like and comment on this video and let me know what you thought. You can also always come over to jessicavalantpilates.com to find all the resources I have for living a healthy lifestyle, including full-length workout videos, healthy recipes, and a community I would love for you to be a part of. So I'll see you there.